hold on. Oh, here he comes. This is Christopher Luxon.
Good morning, everybody. Listen,
in his jersey.
we've
Let's
had a
listen
great
in.
start to the morning. We've woken up and we have a national-led government, and we will also have the All Blacks back on track, which is fantastic. So it's been a great start to the morning. We had a great chance to catch up with all of our campaign team and their partners, just to thank them for all the effort that they've had over the last 6 months, and it's been a good time to bring the team together. So with that, happy to take questions.
What kind of Prime Minister are you going to be?
Well, I talked a little bit about it last night, is that I want to bring the country together. I want to actually make sure that we are focused on delivering outcomes for New Zealanders. That's what improves their daily lives. I'm a person who likes to bring teams together and make sure that I get the best out of that team and use all the skills that are in that team, and so that's my mode.
Have you called Winston Peters, and what did you say?
I haven't yet. I haven't had a chance to do so. But what we saw last night was, the New Zealand people, had a mood for change, and that's what they delivered last night. There's a mandate for us now to go off and form a national-led government. I really appreciated Winston Peters' remarks, as I commented last night, on his offer of help and wanting to act in New Zealand's interests, and I respect that. And so I'm sure in due course we'll be in contact.
Will you call him either way? If you have enough to get across the line with only the ACT Party, would you try and bring Winston Peters into the tent?
Look, again, again for us, this afternoon we'll bring our strategy team together, and that'll be our chance to sort of think through the next steps over the next few days. But again, as I said last night, I was very appreciative of his remarks and his offer of help.
Talking about bringing the country together, how much of a task is that at the moment? We've seen one of probably the most divisive election campaigns that we've seen in quite some time. How much of a task is it for you to bring New Zealand back to one kind of
Well, look,
common
I think
goal?
that's the job of a Prime Minister, is that, you want every Prime Minister to leave the country more unified than when they came to the job. And, that's my role, and our role of our team and our government is to make sure, as I said last night, I'm really serious about it. We are going to govern for all New Zealanders. We are going to bring New Zealanders together, to work together on the challenges that we've got.
Were you surprised by some of those electorate? Were you surprised by some of those electorate flips that went on last night? Mount Roskill, New Lynn are in play for the National Party. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, well, I guess, to be honest, over the last 6 months, even 12 months, we have seen, and we've been out and about in these electorates. That's where we spend a lot of our time. You saw that we got organised very early with candidate selections. We had great ground game in terms of very motivated and enthusiastic volunteers and supporters, and we've been doing the work. We've knocked on tens of thousands of doors. You have to remember that for the last 4 or 5 months, Chris Bishop's every Tuesday morning put up a chart showing us every single electorate we're running in as to how we're going with signs and door-knocking campaigns and all of that. So we've been very focused on that task, and so I think that preparation actually put us in good stead. But more importantly, we've been out of Wellington. I genuinely said it last night, we've been listening to the New Zealand people, and what we were hearing was very different from what we were often hearing from pundits and commentators and media.
Have you spoken to David Seymour about how the coalition negotiations are going to run?
I spoke to David twice yesterday, and as I said before, he and I will work in a very constructive way. Sorry, Jane.
One of my questions, what are the communications with David Seymour? How advanced is the relationship in terms of having maybe discussed some of the areas of common ground and areas of disagreement, and what are your plans now over the next couple of days? Yeah,
look, in very broad brush terms, David and I, over probably the last couple of months have spoken every couple of days, and as I've said before, we've been neighbours for 4 years, so we actually do know each other fairly well. Our parties have worked together very well, and we're very, in terms of broad brush, we've talked about wanting to, get the economy rebuilt. We've talked about wanting to restore law and order. Those same goals, and we're very aligned around.
You talked about specific policies that you can just say, right, let's take these off the table, they're done, and then maybe
we have not started that process, but what we've made sure is that we have good alignment, and I think, and good chemistry. And I think when I've done a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and I've done a lot of negotiations, getting the chemistry and getting the relationship right is the platform and the foundation for actually then being able to work your way through the transactional issues. And so that's what our conversations have been about.
What is your plan in terms of not just the contact with New Zealand first, but the way you proceed from now? And is there a potential that you could bring them in because the numbers might be so tight, even if you don't necessarily need them at this stage of the game?
Look, again, we're going to work that out this afternoon. That's what we bring our strategy team together to map it out for ourselves as to how we want to approach it. Again, I've been clear last night saying, look, I'm not going to do those negotiations through the media or with the media. I want to respect the parties involved, and as I said, we'll build good relationships, and from there we'll work our way through the transactional issues.
Down to Wellington, are you intending to do the negotiations down in Parliament? Is that correct?
Again, We'll work all of that out after conversation this afternoon. But what I just say is that I am going to do it differently because I think my approach to making sure we've got a strong and stable government that's positive and constructive will mean that I will want to do that out of respect with the parties that we are involved with and do that confidentially and with
Are you going to be able to start that?
Yes, well, we've said to you very clearly we want better public service targets across all of the public service. We think it's important that everybody working in a ministry or a government agency knows why they're there and actually is focused on improving those outcomes. And so, we'll be holding ministers to account for sure. Yeah.